Hey there, movie fans. Welcome to the Blues of June 2016. Why am I keep saying that, 2016? We all know what year this is, right? Anyway, this month's shoutout is going to A Touch of Film. Great YouTuber. He has a great channel, great videos, and he had a great passion for movies, especially Asian movies. He has a lot of beautiful Blu-ray editions of Asian movies. Yeah, he's definitely a YouTuber who deserves your subscription. So go check him out and watch his videos. A Touch of Film. Okay, well, the first few titles that I have here are Dutch movies. And we start off with Nika, which is a costume drama. Now, costume dramas is not one of my favorite genres, but some of them are, among my personal favorites, like The Age of Innocence, for example, Martin Scorsese's film, and The Remains of the Day, which I absolutely adore. And this is a beautiful film as well, Nienke, based on a true story. It has one of the best Dutch actresses, Monique Hendricks, and it also have he was one of the best actors in the Netherlands. Unfortunately, Jeroen Williams is his name, by the way. Unfortunately, he died a few years back, suddenly of a heart attack. But it's a beautiful film, Nienke. Next is Fighting Fish, which is a bit of a silly title if you ask me. But this is the first ever Dutch martial arts movie. And the two words that come to my mind when I think about this is nice try. You know what I mean? I mean, these guys, they have the moves. Their moves are great. But the fight scenes, it looks more like they're sparring instead of fighting, And this movie also takes itself too seriously, in my opinion. But it's okay, if you want to see a real good martial arts movie, you have to go for the Chinese stuff, the Hong Kong stuff. And the guys who have made this movie knows that very well. But just a group of friends who came together and decided to make, the first martial arts movie in the Netherlands. So that's okay, that's fine. But yes, it's an okay movie. And you might remember this guy. He was also in Who Am I with Jackie Chan. But anyway, Fighting Fish. Next up is Kristen, which is a very good horror thriller. I was actually surprised by this. It's about this young girl, Kristen, very well played by Terence Scheurs. She, one night cleans up her father's bar, after a New Year's Eve party. And then she gets a phone call from a strange man, and, it starts off innocently, and he pretty much asks her when the bar is opened. But then after a while, he calls up again, and it becomes more, more and more threatening. Like the opening sequence of Scream, with Drew Barrymore. It started off nice, but then it's becomes more this. The man on the other side of the phone becomes more threatening, and she finds out that the man who is bothering her is outside the bar. So she pretty much barricade herself inside the bar so that he won't come inside. And so that's how the movie starts. Like a cat and mouse stalker thriller. But then at one point in the movie, it takes a completely different turn. It's becoming something like Insidious in a way. I mean, I don't want to give away too much, but I thought it was an excellent little thriller, and but Mark Weistra, who's directed and wrote this film, he did everything. He also produced it and he financed it himself. He used to be a video store owner, and he sold his video store, and he used that money to make this movie. And it also has a terrific ending, by the way, which I'm not going to tell you what the ending is, but it's the kind of ending where people have their own opinion about. you know, their own theory about, and I have my own theory about the ending. But yeah, it's an excellent little horror thriller, and I'm really hoping that more people will get to see this, and that, you know, this movie will get an international release, because it definitely deserved it. And yeah, really good movie, Kristen. Now, I wanted to have this movie on Blu-ray, and you know, they did pronounce the Blu-ray of this movie, but apparently there was some mistake made, because there was never supposed to be a Blu-ray coming out in the first place. It was only on DVD and VOD. But hey, you know, DVD is a good alternative. But it seems like the Dutch companies are giving up on Blu-rays, and you know, pretty much concentrate more on the streaming business, you know, the VOD business and all that. That's unfortunate. It's understandable, of course, but unfortunate. The majority of the audience, of course, rather want to stream movies than buy the physical stuff. But it's unfortunate. I would have loved to have this on Blu-ray. And there's another movie that has never gotten a Blu-ray release in Holland, Blackout, which I enjoyed a lot, by the way. This is kind of like a Dutch answer to Guy Ritchie's British gangster films, you know, Snatch, Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, you know, things like that. Raymond Terry, who is one of the best actors, Dutch actors in my opinion, he plays an ex-criminal who wakes up on the day of his wedding, and he has a gun in his hand, and there's a dead body lying next to him, and he has no idea what happened. You know, he had a blackout, and he's also being accused of stealing 20 kilos of cocaine. So he had to figure out what the hell happened, you know. And during his journey, he comes across a lot of you know, crazy characters. But I really enjoyed it. It was great fun, you know, action, comedy. But like I said, this has never gotten a Blu-ray release. At least not in the Netherlands. It did get a Blu-ray release in Germany, which I have right here. And I just Google you know, Blackout Blu-ray, and I come across this German Blu-ray. If I had done that before, I would not have bought this one, even though this is just €2. But you know, can't complain about that. And besides, this has some extras that are not on the Blu-ray, like bloopers, which I don't really care about, and audio commentary by the director. This one doesn't have that. But yeah, I'm very happy to have this on Blu-ray. You know, thanks to the Germans. I mean, the Germans, they release movies that on Blu-ray that never has been released anywhere. So that's a plus. I'm very happy to have this. And by accident, I also find out that the Germans has released this Dutch movie on Blu-ray as well. This has never gotten a physical release in Holland, by the way. Not on Blu-ray, not on DVD, not even on VOD, as far as I know, actually. But I'm sure you can find it somewhere on the internet, although I don't believe it has English subtitles. But anyway, this is called Tricked. As you can see above the title, this is a user-generated film by Paul Verhoeven. Now, the thing is, the first 3-4 minutes of this film was written by a professional screenwriter. And the public had to decide what the next 3 minutes was going to be, and then the next 3 minutes, and then the next 3 minutes, and so on, until you have an hour-long, you know, little movie. And it was, they could have done it in different ways. They could have sent out scripts, or they could send out videos where they play the scenes themselves. And it was for Verhoeven and his team, you know, to find out what scenes they want to use into the movie. So it's kind of like a puzzle in a way, you know. It was his job to find the right pieces and put them together. And he was not really happy with the result, to be honest. I mean, he was kind of cheated a little to make it more filmable, you know, to make it more enjoyable in a way. But I have to say, the result is very nice. You know, I really quite enjoyed it. And I have seen his latest film, which is his first film in 10 years. You know, since Black Book. Although he did this one, you know, between those two films, but it's not exactly a movie, or it is a movie, but not a theatrical movie. It's more, it's merely an internet experience, you know. But the latest film that he did is called Elle, his first French language film with Isabelle Huppert, and I thought it was really, really good. I do have to say that I don't think it's for everyone. You know, it's a bit of a bizarre and ironic film, and not everything about it was good in my opinion. I mean, one scene. I'm not going to give away too much, of course, but there's a baby being born, and Isabelle Huppert takes a look at this baby, and you know, she discovers something. I thought it was a little too silly, and there were also moments that were dragging a bit. But you know, it's his comeback after a 10-year absence, and that's a cause for celebration. But this movie, Elle, is about, you know, Isabelle Huppert plays a very successful businesswoman who gets raped one day in her home. And she soon finds out who her rapist is, but she does not report him to the police. She does not retaliate. You know, it's not a rape revenge kind of film. I'm not going to tell you what she is going to do, but it's not what you expect. And you know, like I said, it's not a film for everyone. But I thought it was very good, and I thought it was that Isabelle Huppert was wonderful in it. But anyway, that was Elle, and this is Tricked. Speaking of Paul Verhoeven, this is his most notorious movie, Showgirls, the 15th anniversary sensational edition. If you are going to watch this movie, you better watch it in 1080p high definition, right? And I've always liked this movie, by the way. I still think it's a good movie. It's not a great movie, and certainly not a bad movie either, even though some people might tell you otherwise. But it's just a good movie. And other people might say that this is so bad it's good, and perhaps they're right about that. But yeah, I've always liked it. And Verhoeven has said that he does not regret making this, even though his career was never the same after that. But he doesn't regret it. Although there is one thing he does regret, and that it's, you know, it pretty much destroyed Elizabeth Berkley's career. You know, he feels responsible for that. And you know, I have to say, I have never seen so many titties in one big budget Hollywood movie. You know, I have no idea how Paul Verhoeven has done that. I think nobody could have done that. I had no idea how I did that, and he pretty much got away with it. Even though, you know, like I said before, his career was never the same after this one. But I mean, you gotta hand it to him. You know, so many titties, so many in a mainstream movie. No idea how it does that. But anyway, Showgirls. Okay, next I took advantage on the Twilight Time sale, and I picked up 7 Blu-rays, mind you, 7 Blu-rays. I went a little crazy there. But anyway, the first one is The Bounty, which is a really good film. You know, of course, based on Mutiny on the Bounty with Mel Gibson and Anthony Hopkins. And also with Liam Neeson, you can see him there. And Daniel Day-Lewis, and I believe this is... Yeah, I believe this is their first movie. You know, the first movie of Liam Neeson and Daniel Day-Lewis, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, The Bounty. Next is Exodus, which is a brilliant film. Brilliant film. Paul Newman there. By Otto Preminger. Very long movie as well. It's 208 minutes, but there's not one boring moment in it, if you ask me. The Last Detail, which is yeah, a great film. Really, just a real actor's film. This is the kind of film you have to see for the performances. Jack Nicholson, of course, is fantastic in it. But also the other two. Otis Young is great. Rennie Quaid is great. And really good film. The Last Detail. Also picked up Kings Go Forth, which I have not seen yet, but this looks like a really good film with Frank Sinatra, Tony Curtis, and the beautiful Natalie Wood. Directed by Delmer Daves, who is best known for his Western films with Glenn Ford. But yeah, this looks like a good one. 1984, which is of course based on the classic book by George Orwell. Great movie, but also very depressing. Broken Lands, still have not watched this yet. But it's a Western, and you know me, I love my Westerns. Speaking of Westerns, I also picked up these two, Support Your Local Sheriff, and the sequel, Support Your Local Gunfighter, both with James Garner. And these look like fun. I haven't seen them yet, but they look like a lot of fun. And both of them were directed by Burt Kennedy, who was a Western expert. I mean, he wrote some of the Bud Bediger Westerns in the late 1950s. And he directed The War Wagon, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I believe he did. The War Wagon with Kirk Douglas and John Wayne, and he also directed The Good Guys and the Bad Guys with Robert Mitchum and George Kennedy. So yeah, a real expert in Westerns. But these two films look like a lot of fun. Can't wait to check them out. So these were my Twilight Time titles. Next up is Coraline. I actually got this in a trade. Still haven't seen it, but I'm a fan of stop motion animation, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy this. And this one comes with a particular cover. Yeah, you can see that, right? Very nice. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy this one. Coraline. Next is Independence Day. This is the new one, the 20th anniversary extended edition. Now I have this movie on Blu-ray already, but the thing is, this edition has the extended cut on Blu-ray. The one that I have the extended cut on DVD, and it also has a new transfer and some new bonus features as well. And I recently rewatched it, and it's still a very entertaining movie. Still haven't, after 2 decades, it still has not lost its charm. And I also love the combination between CGI and miniature models. Nowadays filmmakers don't use miniature models, although Christopher Nolan still uses it, so that's a good thing. And I was hoping that they would do the same with the sequel, Independence Day Resurgence. But unfortunately, it's all CGI. And by the way, I thought the sequel was okay. I didn't really expect much of it, and you should not expect much of it, to be honest. But yeah, it was okay. Nothing more, nothing less. But anyway, Independence Day. Next up is The Witch. I mean, that's what it says here, right? These are not W, these are 2 V's. So I guess you pronounce it The Witch. Oh, sorry, I'm being too silly. The Witch. Hated by many, and luckily, I'm not one of them. I absolutely loved it. In fact, I would even go so far to say that it's a little masterpiece. And I would even go further to say that if Stanley Kubrick made a film about witches, it would have looked something like this. It has a Kubrickian feel to it, in my opinion, anyway. And I thought this was genuinely creepy. I mean, the atmosphere was very effective. The cinematography was breathtaking. The acting was absolutely amazing. And The dialogue feels authentic. I mean, the whole film feels authentic. You really believe that this film takes place in 17th century England. Especially, I thought the girl was very good as well. I actually thought that she was British, but she's not. She's actually American. But she was very convincing as an English young girl. But this is a very impressive debut by Robert Eggers. Eggers, yeah, Eggers, who wrote and directed it, and I'm very much looking forward to his next movies because this is definitely someone to watch out for. With all those modern horror movies that are full of jump scares and all that, I mean, this is such a relief. I mean, it's something that dares to be different, and that ought to be respected, in my opinion. So I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a brilliant piece of cinema. The Witch. Next is Trumbo, which is a terrific film in my opinion. I love these kind of films, the kind of films that are about the golden age of Hollywood, but also about the Red Scare. The hunt for communism in Hollywood. That was a big thing in the late 1940s all the way through the late 1950s. And this film is about Dalton Trumbo, fantastically played by Bryan Cranston. He was at the time the most successful screenwriter, and until he became blacklisted, during the communism hunt by the House Committee on Un-American Activities. But he managed to keep working on the false names, and during that time he won 2 Oscars, which would have been quite embarrassing for the Academy when they found out that Trumbo was the one who wrote those screenplays. But yeah, terrific film, absolutely, and great performances by Cranston. Helen Mirren, of course, is wonderful. She plays Hedda Hopper, who was a very popular journalist sensational journalist, very influential figure in the Hollywood societies, and a complete cunt. I mean, seriously, she was quite a bitch, I can tell you that. John Goodman was good. Louis K.C. was good. And was also, there's a great scene in this one, at the beginning of this movie, where Trumbo confronts John Wayne, and he pretty much puts him on his place. I thought it was a great scene. Now, of course, I am a fan of John Wayne, but I'm a fan of John Wayne the movie star, not John Wayne the politician. You know what I mean? What John Wayne has done to Trumbo and also the other blacklisted people is pretty much shameful, to be honest. But the actor who plays John Wayne was great as well. I don't know his name, and he doesn't look like John Wayne, but I thought he was pretty convincing. And also Michael Stuhlbarg was great as Edward G. Robinson, and he didn't look like him, but I really believed that he was Edward G. Robinson. He's very convincing. And Edward G. Robinson, he named names in front of the committee. He also named Trumbo's name, and that was wrong, of course. But on the other hand, I understand why he did it, because his career was as good as over. He didn't do a movie for a year, so he was pushed to name names so he could work again. Because he was broke. He didn't have any money anymore, so he did what he had to do, which is wrong, but it's understandable. But his friendship with Trumbo was never the same again. And there's also another actor who I thought was really good. He's the one who plays Kirk Douglas in this movie, and he did that very well. By the way, he even looked like Kirk Douglas, but I forgot his name. I know he's a New Zealand actor, and I know he played one of the dwarves in the Hobbit movies. Uh, Dino Corman, something like that. Yeah, I think it is something like that. But he was great as well. But everyone was great in this film. It's just a fantastic film, Trumbo. Definitely go check this out. If you want to know more about the history of Hollywood and the the communism hunt history of Hollywood. Definitely go check this out. Trumbo. Next is Pulp Fiction, a movie that doesn't need any introduction, does it? We've all seen it, and if you haven't seen it, then you're an idiot. Go watch it right away, because it's a brilliant film, of course. And this is a very nice edition from the UK. I actually saw a video from Replay Video 82, also a great YouTuber, by the way. I will leave a link to his channel below. Go check him out. In my opinion, he hasn't gotten many subs and views, so really go subscribe to him and watch his videos. He's a great YouTuber. But anyway, this was on sale, I believe, at Zavi, and it has some very nice goodies here, including the Jack Rabbit Slims menu card. I love what they've done that. Oh, how they've done that. Very nice. And then here we have a Big Kahuna Burger bag, and inside the bag is the Blu-ray, which is over here. Very nice. And then we have a couple of art cards. You can see the Tarantino there, still a shield. Z, a keychain with Pulp Fiction in it. Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead. And some money. Not real money, of course. But there's some characters on it. Yeah, sorry about that, but again, get this thing to move. But anyways, here there's Jules and Vincent and Mia on the other side. Very nice, very nice. Very nice release, this one. And got it for a good price, from Zavi. I think you can still get it on Zavi, by the way. But this is wonderful release of a wonderful movie. And here's another Tarantino movie, Death Proof, which is an upgrade, by the way. I've already have Planet Terror on Blu-ray, and Grindhouse on Blu-ray as well, but I still need to get this one, because this is, of course, the extended version. The Grindhouse version is cut. For example, it doesn't have the lap dance scene in it. And the lap dance scene is, something you need to see in high definition, am I right? But, to me, this is my least favorite Tarantino movie. However, I do like it more every time I see it. I've seen it 3 times already, and it gets better, in my opinion. And I also grabbed his latest one, The Hateful Eight. This is the Target exclusive with some bonus content and a nice lenticular cover, as you can see here. Now, having seen this movie twice, I have to say I enjoyed it more than the first time. But I still think the ending is weak, and I still think it is too long. I'm actually curious to find out what the original ending was. I'm pretty sure I can find it on the internet somewhere, because the first draft of the screenplay was leaked on the internet, which of course angered Tarantino so much that he decided not to do the movie. I believe he wanted to release it as a book at one point, but then he did a live script reading somewhere in LA, and it was Samuel L. Jackson who persuaded Tarantino to make this movie, and he did do that eventually. And I absolutely love the music by Ennio Morricone. finally he got an Oscar for that. He already had an Oscar, but that was an honorary Oscar for his entire career. But he never actually won an Oscar until this one with this movie, and he very much deserved it as well. He should have gotten 5, 6 Oscars already, in my opinion. And speaking of Morricone, I also picked up the soundtrack, which I have here. And it's a brilliant piece of music, and it also has some other stuff, of course, including some dialogues from the movie. And I also got this Ennio Morricone Collected 3 CD set with 68 tracks on them, with different movies that he provide the music of. You see the entire list here. Of course, they had these spaghetti westerns on here, and a whole lot of other editions as well. It is the 3-disc set. The third one is in here. You can see that little slit there. Very nice set, and beautiful music, of course. So, from the Hateful Eight to Cutthroat IX, and I finally have this Blu-ray. I've been looking for this one for some time, and I have to give a special thanks to Vesius, another great YouTuber, by the way. I will also leave the link to his channel below, so go check him out. Great guy, and I got this thanks to him. He actually showed this in one of his videos, and I asked him where he found it, because I've been looking for this one for myself, and he said that he got it from diabolicdvd.com, and he said that I should keep an eye on that site, because sometimes they have some copies on that site. And then one day he messaged me saying that they have some copies left on the site, so I just immediately went to diabolicdvd.com and ordered a copy for myself. It was actually very strictly limited. I don't know how many of these have been made though. Maybe 1,000? Maybe it is. I'm not sure. Most of these Code Red titles are 1,000, right? But anyway, it was strictly limited. It was only one title per customer, kind of a deal. And I'm very happy to have this, because I've always wanted to see this movie, and it is known as the most violent Western of all time. If you look at these stills here, very gory. And this is not exactly a spaghetti Western. I mean, it is a Spanish-Italian co-production, like most of these spaghetti Westerns. But this is more of a Spanish film than a Italian film, so I think it's fair enough to call it more of a paella Western instead of a spaghetti Western. You know what I mean? But yeah, can't wait to check this out. This very notorious movie, Cutthroat IX, and I also, along with this one, I picked up another Code Red title, which is The Police Connection, also known as The Mad Bomber. This one I have seen though, and I thought it was pretty good. This scene was great, by the way. What I absolutely do not like about these Code Red titles? This chick right here, she is fucking irritating as hell. Anyway, glad they got these both limited edition Blu-rays finally, especially Cutthroat IX. Can't wait to check this one out. And last but not least, I got this beautiful set from Arrow, Bloodbath. I don't think I need to show you the whole thing, do I? And just take a look at the Blu-ray here, with very nice artwork. I'm sure many of you have already asked this. 4 different versions on here, and I think the most logical way to watch these movies is in the chronological way. Start off with Operation Titian, I believe it's pronounced. Then you watch Portrait of In Terror, and then Bloodbath, and then Track of the Vampire. I think that's, the best way to do it, at least to me. But I haven't seen any version yet, though, so I still need to, sit down and watch the entire thing. But yeah, it's a beautiful release. Definitely one of their most completest releases so far from Arrow. So yeah, that was it for my June update. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.